This will be my final installment on string crossings. We're going to start with what Carl Flesch called the finger stroke. If you go back to my Colle video, C-O-L-L-E, you will find some of these exercises. I won't go through all of them, but we will start on that video. You see, I teach you how to do this. But we'll start on, say, the A string, keeping the arms still, only opening the fingers. You're going to bow maybe 3/4 of an inch, and then bring them back. Watch the top of my hand. It doesn't move. The finger stroke. Now, you can make it somewhat legato. It's not something I actually play with as far as a technique. It's just the beginnings of finger flexibility. If I were doing something pretty legato, do you see some finger flexibility there? Okay, so that's where we're going with it. But how we apply it to string crossings is if we set the bow on D string and A string, both strings, balance it right on both, maybe in the balance point. Okay? I want you to start with your fingers pretty curved. See? Everything's pretty round. See my thumb? I want you to now extend the fingers, open them up. The thumb will look pretty straight as well. See it open? This should pivot your bow off of the D string, just with the fingers. Okay? Then bring them in all the way. Watch my pinky. See how round it gets? And this should put you on the D string and bring you off of the A. Now, let's bow, down bow with our fingers really curved on D. Open them up. Bow maybe 1/4 of an inch on A. I didn't do it with the fingers, I did it with the arm. I bowed like that. Curve them up. Down bow on D. Open them. Up on A. Watch my arm. This is all finger motion for the string crossing. The arm is just doing the stroke itself. Now, I want you to do it legato. And now, see if your wrist can't start to become involved and make circles. The hand will start to make circles. When the hand becomes involved, the fingers will reduce the amount of motion because you're putting the two together. The fingers are still moving, for sure. Now let's add the forearm. If you go back to my previous video, we were talking about doing string crossings in the lower half. It's just a rotation of the forearm. But in reality, I don't do anything without letting the fingers slightly move. They're not an action as much as a reaction to what's going on. They just follow behind. If I open the arm, the fingers are loose. I'm not pushing them out and pulling them in anymore. By the time you get into the big motion, the fingers are just flopping in the wind. You actually can get too loose with the fingers so that it becomes unstable. But the way your hand and fingers can follow behind is just by a looseness in the wrist and a looseness in the fingers, and then you make the big motions with the arm and they just react to that motion. You're not doing this anymore. Understand? So the final installment on string crossings is adding that finger and wrist flexibility and putting it all together. You can just stay near the middle of the bow on D and A. Start with really small bows, mostly finger. A little bigger, you're adding wrist. A little bigger, you add forearm. Depending on how much bow you're using, it determines how much and what part of the arm is engaged. Understand? I hope that this has been helpful. String crossings are certainly tricky. Do them really slow, but then you must also practice a little faster and practice a little faster. You cannot learn to play fast by only playing slow. So good luck, and let me know how it's going, okay?